What is happening, guys? I am back, and this is week number 5, episode 5, I think, of This Week in Bodybuilding. So, heads up, my audio might sound a little off this episode. My laptop had a bunch of audio issues, and I ordered a new PC, is basically the gist of it. So, yeah, that aside, pretty light week in bodybuilding, honestly, as far as news is concerned. Of course, I think the big news is obviously everybody at this point knows that Chris is going to be doing Prague in the Open. Okay, so that is just I think 2 weeks away, less than 2 weeks away now, actually. So I think it's a Friday, Saturday show. So less than 2 weeks away that we will see Chris next to the Open guys. That's going to be Martin. I think Shaun Clarita also is going to do an Open, so that will be cool. I believe Horse is going to do it as well. And I know there's plenty that I'm forgetting. Maybe Rafa is going to do it as well, I think. But regardless, a lot of good names are going to be on that stage. Really, really awesome to see that. Everyone has probably heard this already because this announcement came out literally a day after I put out the last episode. So it's not really new news, but it did happen this past week, so we're going to still touch on it. I think it's really cool. I think that Chris hopping on stage to finish off his career where he started is just really cool to see. For those who don't know, he did start as an open bodybuilder and then transitioned into classic as time went on. But it will be very cool to see how he stacks up against some of the other larger guys on stage and see if the definition, the lines, and the shape that Chris brings can actually maybe edge him out among some of the open guys. So it'll be really cool to see that. So on top of Chris doing Prague, Shaun Clarita has also said he is going to be doing Prague in the Open to see how he stacks up against some of the open guys. So it'll be really interesting where we have this lineup of 212 and Classic and Open all kind of co-mingling on the same stage so that we could potentially see how they all look next to each other. And that's going to be really cool to see. I'm excited for that. In other news related to Shaun, he has decided to go with Stefan as his coach. So I think that's an awesome move. I think it'll be really good for him. Stefan is an amazing coach, and he's picked up a lot of new clients in the wake of the Olympia. I think that Martin went on record on the Fuad's podcast, RBP, and said that Stefan has picked up, I believe, 8 open bodybuilders. Or let me rephrase that. He has had 8 open bodybuilders, high-level competitors, reach out to him in the wake of Martin's performance at the Olympia. So very, very interesting to hear and see that. Excited to see who else hops on board. I think Brett has yet to make an official announcement, but he will obviously, due to training with Martin, there's like a 99% chance he's going to be going with Stefan. I guess while we're on the topic of coaching, let's also talk about Nick. Nick has put out a video, I believe, where he said he has not yet picked out a coach. Little sassy in that video, from what I remember. he said he was self-coaching currently. He's not using anybody currently. He is just kind of waiting to see who he wants to go with, and I can respect that. But at the same time, I think that he also needs to. I mean, from a personal perspective, he doesn't need to publicly announce anything, but I think for him and his well-being, Nick is the kind of guy who needs guidance, and I think that he would do best to pick someone who is not necessarily going to be combative with him in decision-making processes or is going to be hyper-aggressive in decision-making processes. As an example, I think Milos would be a bad pick, but someone like Stefan might be a good pick. On the flip side of that, would the kind of dynamic that Stefan offers work for Nick? I don't know. But regardless of who he picks, Nick has not yet decided on anyone. It'll be interesting to see who he does decide to go with as a coach, but it's still up in the air for now. And then, again, like I said, light week for news here. Not a whole lot happening. We're kind of waiting for the first shows to kick off. Romania's coming up, then Prague shortly after that. So not a lot going on right now. No crazy show announcements as far as I know, but I will say a couple updates I wanted to touch on. Akeem, man. Akeem looks, I love how dense and just grainy Akeem gets. It's unfortunate that his back holds him back so much. This is the picture I was looking for here, because he just looks so good, man. I mean, he looks awesome. And I can't remember, Akeem placed 10th, I think, at the Olympia this year. And I think it was absolutely deserved. I mean, Akeem being top 10, I think, is someone that people forget about purely because of these back shots, but he still looks great, man. I mean, from the front, he's insane. Like, love Akeem's physique. Excited to see him on the stage at Romania. I don't recall who else is doing Romania off the top of my head. I believe Horst is doing, yes, okay, Romania. I don't recall if he's doing Prague, actually, but him versus Akeem will be interesting to see. We had another update out of Quentin. Not exactly much of a crazy update here since he's not showing much off. But yeah, he's doing his thing. And I am excited to see where Quentin ends up once he's back to competing and kind of gets himself, I think, in the right mindset. I think in the wake of the situation with Matt Jansen and all the drama around that, and Quint having to kind of reassess his coaching and how he's progressed over the past couple of years, it's probably been a big mental setback. But then coming back to getting his head right, and once he actually starts to focus and put himself on the right path with a good coach again, or doing his own thing, however he wants to do it, I think Quint is one of those guys who has a very high ceiling for potential. Like, his upper limit is all the way up here, but he hasn't had the right structure, either through his own efforts or through having the right coach in place to be able to push himself towards that upper limit yet. So once he locks those things in, if he does, I should say, then he's an awesome freak of nature to watch as far as structure goes. I mean, he's up there with like Samson and Andrew. And on that note, I kind of feel that same way about Andrew too. Once he pushes himself in the way he needs to, gets his mind right. Andrew, I've said it before, could be Mr. Olympia. But anyway, getting a little off of the topic there, some of the updates we've seen. We actually had a lot of updates this week. No real news here, but a lot of updates from guys. James looking freaking huge in his off season. I always love seeing James updates. Like, this guy's one of my favorite bodybuilders. I just think he brings like this level of, I don't even know if I want to call it density. I mean, there's this density, this graininess. He just has a structure I like. Even though his structure isn't necessarily quote unquote ideal, I just like the way James looks. So really cool to see that his update in the off season is going well. 303.5 here, which is nuts. Looking great, man. And let's see who else we got. Oh, Seth. This is an interesting one. I don't know if we've heard anything official from Seth on if he's training to get back into things. I think he is, but he's looking crazy, man. He looks like he never stepped away from a stage, and that's nuts. Like, I would love to see Seth come back, because I think that while Seth was on stage and competing, he never reached his maximum potential. I think he cut his career way short in terms of, like, we never saw the best version of Seth that we could have seen. Like, for his potential upper limit. So I'm excited to see what comes of that. Whole P does things in a manageable, healthy way, hopping back in, and that he's handling things well, but he's looking freaking insane. Awesome update there. Let's see who else we've got. Mark Hector. Samson, he had a little seminar, I think he did at a gym in the UK. So that was cool. It might have just been a meet and greet, but getting to see some updates from him. I think that's really it, guys. I mean, I don't think there's a whole lot this week. Let's run through the last couple things here. Yeah, I saw this. This guy earned his pro card and then won his pro show within 6 hours. That's just fucking wild. Absolutely insane. Props to him. Don't know anything about the guy, but mad props to him. Yeah, that's really about it, guys. Short week this week. Nothing crazy. We will be obviously ramping up some more news as we get closer to Romania, closer to Prague. The post-show coverage for those will obviously be very, very interesting, considering, we have C-Bum doing it and seeing how he potentially places and all this. But yeah, that is going to be it for this week's news and This Week in Bodybuilding, guys. And until next time,